Don't use Notion to run your service-based agency. I've tried this for a very long time, and after spending a lot of time and money in trying to make Notion work, from what we found, Notion does not work at scale, at least for an agency looking to use it as a complete operating system. Now, just to be clear, this video is recorded on the 8th of November 2024. So hopefully by the time you're watching this video, then Notion will have changed some of the problems I'm talking about. However, as of now, Notion is not an option for larger agencies. And before I say anything else, I want to make it very clear. You should use whatever works for you. The only perfect solution is the one that actually works for you and your team. So if you have a service-based agency and you manage to find a way to make Notion work for you, then great. You don't have to listen to a random guy on YouTube in an orange hoodie telling you what to use. I'm just talking about my own experience from what I've seen and from what I've personally experienced trying to make Notion work for a very long time. And what I've seen is that Notion is not a true solution to an agency owner's problems. Now, for a bit of context, guys, my name's Leo. I'm the CEO and founder of Fluxomate, an operation agency that helps agency owners all over the world set up scale-proof systems. A massive part of what we do here at Fluxomate is set up these internal platforms for our different partners, team members to be able to carry out their roles efficiently. And when we first started, we were using Notion to do that. I was using it in university, so I already had some experience and I had some really good things about it on YouTube. So I was like, let's just use Notion to try and make this work. We spent a couple months doing that, and I knew there was something better out there. I knew that wasn't a true solution to my problems. So I went around looking and shopping around the typical softwares like ClickUp, Airtable, Monday, HubSpot. And this is good because I kind of shopped around and I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what was that perfect solution for agencies. However, each one of these software had their own weaknesses in their own individual parts. So 3 months later, I decided to scrap all of these and go back to Notion with the intention of trying to make it work. And boy, did we try. We spent hundreds on templates and even brought on a team member whose sole purpose was creating these different portals for our clients as to act as a complete operating system for them. But a couple months later, we just ended up in the exact same spot. And that led me to come to the conclusion that Notion just doesn't work at scale. I'm going to go over the reasons why. Now, I want to be clear, right? For every single one of the reasons, I'm also going to be talking about potential workarounds because they do exist. However, in my opinion, these are unnecessarily complicated and not required, right? In all likelihood, the more complicated something is, the more likely it is to break down. And you obviously don't want that, especially when you're on an agency with a lot of different clients. You don't want there to be any sort of friction within your operations. But guys, we might as well get straight into it. I don't want to hold you for too long. The first problem that Notion has, which in my opinion is the biggest problem, is inability to handle data sharing. And let me actually explain what I mean. When you're actually building some sort of interface in Notion, some sort of platform, wherever it may be, or in most cases, what you're doing is having a database and then just presenting that database with different filters to the different people. For example, if you only want an employee to see their assigned tasks, you just create filters that only show assigned tasks based on the actual user that's logged in. The main problem with Notion is in order to give them access to their relevant piece of data, you have to give access to the whole database. And I'll show you an example to really drive this in. Let's say each one of these individual paintings was a data point, and you wanted to share with someone this painting in the middle right here. The way Notion does it is it still gives them access to the entire database, but you just have to set up different filters to hide this, so you can just show them the relevant piece of data. This works from a surface level. However, if anyone goes looking deeper, then they can still uncover the rest of the database, which is the rest of the information. In an ideal world, what you have is in order to share someone the individual piece of data, you just share the individual piece of data. So even if they do go looking, then they won't be able to find it. This is what Notion does not have, which is one of the massive drawbacks. And I'll give you a couple examples why this is such a problem. Let's say you wanted to create a client portal and you wanted to share client A's data just with client A. In order to do that, you'd have to give them access to the entire database of all your clients' data and then just filter it down. However, if they, use a search bar to try and find it, they can still explore the different data, which you obviously do not want. And the exact same thing, right? Let's say you're creating an employee portal where you just want to show John his tasks to avoid him getting confused. In order to do that, you still need to show John every single one of the tasks that are actually going on and then just filter it down. You still need to give them access to the entire database. As you can imagine, this can be very problematic, mainly when it comes to client portals, because you obviously don't want to share different clients' information with different people. But let's say you're bringing on new employees and you have different VAs and you don't want them to access, all of your clients' leads or all of your clients' private information, you still need to give them access to the entire database, which is a massive security concern because all you're doing is you're filtering the data. And more specifically, you're filtering the data on the front end, not on the back end side of things. So they can still go through and find other data if they really wanted to. This, in my opinion, were the massive drawbacks that we try to counter. Now, like I said, there are potential solutions to this, and the main solution to this one is setting up a two-way sync automation. So basically, let's say you wanted to show client A just client A's data, you basically create two separate databases. So one original database that has all your clients' data, that's the one that you and your team would use, and then an individual database that just contains that client A data. And then you set up two different automations. One that whenever this database updates, it goes ahead and finds this record and updates it, and another one that whenever this database updates for that specific record, it goes ahead and updates the new database. As you can imagine, this can be very problematic for three main reasons. Firstly, it takes up a lot of operations. Every single time you change, that'll run the automation, which once again isn't a problem if you just have a couple clients, but if you have 10, 20, 30 clients, then it will take up a lot of operational users, which can get expensive. The second problem, which is in my opinion the main problem, is that every single time you onboard a new client, you need to create an individual database and then create another automation, which in my opinion just slows down the onboarding process. And most importantly, just makes it so unnecessarily complicated. Let's say you have 50 clients, then you're going to be dealing with 50 individual databases, 100 automations, which gets so messy, especially for most marketing agencies who don't have that automation guy in the corner that can actually help them out. Even though, and first, if someone comes and set up for you, let's say an automation agency, it seems all good at first. However, when they leave you, you're basically stuck not understanding how any of this works. And if anything breaks, then that's just going to look bad on you for your clients. So two-way sync automations is a potential solution. I know there's a ton of videos out there going over how you can actually set this up. But even me, when I tried to set this up, I knew it was so complicated, guys. And, automation is a massive part of what we do. We're very, very well versed in automation. So I can't imagine someone who's an agency owner who doesn't have as much experience as us when it comes to automation, trying to set something like this up. But most importantly, not just setting it up, but also maintaining it. Because every single time you change something in your database, you need to change your automation, which once again, at scale does not work. The second issue I've actually seen with Notion is the weak automation. Now, I will say, as the time I was recording and kind of producing this video behind the scenes, Notion literally dropped an update to kind of improved automations. So take everything I say with a pinch of salt because I'm assuming Notion is going to spend the end of 2024 and the start of 2025 improving the automations. But for a lot of work that we do, Notion does not cut it. And that's simply because a lot of the time, the main goal of these internal platforms, one of the main goals I should say actually, is allowing the automations to really be seamless, right? So for example, if one of our partners' employees wants to come in and then trigger an automation by pressing a button, we need to have that option there. So for us, one of the requirements of kind of these platforms that we set up is making it very, very easy to trigger different automations depending on specific circumstances. And in my opinion, Notion does not cut it. The two main reasons for this is for the lack of triggers, right? They don't have that many ways you can actually trigger different automations. Now, granted, they just released the buttons feature, which is a step up. It is an improvement. However, even that is just individual record buttons, which can be slightly limiting. Secondly, the API is not that detailed, even compared to other platforms like ClickUp, for example. They have a much more in-depth API and automation where you can create a lot more helpful stuff. Because once again, guys, don't forget, the goal for us is to kind of create a seamless experience between the platform and the automation, right? Because even if you create the most complex automation, if you don't integrate it within your employees' day-to-day life, then it's not going to get used, and then the automation is built for no reason. So a massive part of what we do is trying to seamlessly integrate these automations within the internal platforms. And when we tried to do it now in Notion, we just came across so many hurdles, which once again just made life unnecessarily complicated. So that's why we don't use Notion specifically when it comes to the automation side of things, or at least as a way to trigger different automations which we can then develop on different platforms like Zapier or Mate.com. And one of the last reasons we don't use Notion is because it's slow. Now, I'll be 100% honest, guys. This is not something I've personally experienced, but I've seen a lot of guys struggling, especially as they start growing the different databases and putting in more data. It tends to get slower. Now, I've seen this on Reddit, but most importantly, I've spoken to people who started work with us and were previously on Notion. And one of the big pain points with Notion was that over time, as they started getting more and more data in, growing their team, the platform started to slow down. Everything was a bit more laggy, which kind of ruined the experience for their employees or even their clients. I will say, guys, in reality, this will not affect most people, because most people just have a small team, right? So never get to the point where the data actually gets slow. However, at scale, when you have a larger team, more projects, and more tasks that you're actually dealing with, then your database will keep on growing, which will end up making a platform slower. because it's not meant to be handling that much data. Once again, guys, I hope each one of these individual problems is something that is fixed in the future, because this is not a video to hate on Notion. I love Notion. I literally used it when I was studying in university, and it's just a platform that I still use to this day. 4 different use cases I'm going to show you in a second. However, at the moment, from everything we've seen, Notion is not the solution to agency owners' problems. But once again, guys, this is not a video to hate on Notion, right? So let me show you different ways that you can use Notion within your agency without having to kind of trip over yourself. The first way is sort of as an SOP template hub. Now, SOPs are standard operating procedures. If you don't know how to create an SOP or even what that is, you can check out this video for the perfect way to actually create an SOP. But what I've seen a lot of agencies do, and I was kind of moving towards shifting this before we started creating our own platform, but we set up different portals within Notion or different interfaces that basically just host the company's SOPs. So you can easily split up into different departments, depending on the who needs to see it, and then just have all your SOPs in one place within Notion so you can easily share it without having someone log in. So let's say someone needs to complete something, you can attach different things like videos, checklists, step-by-step detailed breakdowns, different things like that. And you can have it kind of like a SOP hub. This is a great use, and I'll show you a template now just to go over it. There's so many templates out that you can kind of copy for either where it's individual SOPs or even like a SOP library. Notion is great for this. And if you kind of look back to Notion's history, this is one of the main things it's actually developed for. The second way you can actually use Notion is for content systems. Now, this is very, very popular. I know some people like to use Airtable, and obviously, depending on how complex your content system actually is, you might have to migrate to those different platforms. However, Notion for beginners looking to set up simple content systems like myself, who uses it for our YouTube, works very, very well when it comes to content. You can upload very large files, you can kind of script out the processes. It's very easy to interact and use with, and it works a charm. Now, obviously, if you're a content agency or your content system is a bit more complicated, involving different automations, then you are likely to run in some of the issues I talked about a second ago. However, for most people who are just looking to set up a simple content system for their YouTube, maybe Instagram Reels or TikTok, wherever you may use, Notion works very, very well. I know some very high level coaches who actually encourage their coaching clients to basically copy their content systems on Notion because of how easy it actually is to operate and share with different people like your editors, for example. The last thing that I would recommend actually use Notion for is as a company wiki. Now, this is one of the another massive use case of Notion. I literally know of £1 million startups that actually use this to create a company wiki about everything that an employee needs to know about your company, your story, the founder, any update news, the team, different challenges, so many different things. You can use Notion as that. This kind of falls back similar to the standard operating systems, but more so as a generalized company wiki rather than a specific SOP hub. There's so many templates out there. I know Notion also has free templates that you can kind of check out and consume in your own time, but this is actually something I'm working on, especially as you start getting more employees in your agency. It's very important that they know your kind of culture behind your agency and how you actually do things, or even the story behind the founder or different things like that. So this is something I'll be working on, and as soon as that's done, I can actually go ahead and share with you guys. And like I said, guys, this is not a video to hate on Notion. I genuinely love Notion. I still use it to this day for these different aspects that I'll talk about now, and for general note taking, right? For my own experience when I'm going over books or different things like that. However, the truth is that Notion is not a true solution to an agency owner's problems. And if you want a video going over what I believe is a true solution to an agency owner's problems, you can check out this video right here. The answer for you, just to save you some time, is no-code internal applications. I love to use no-locos, or use for all of our partners. And there you can create really amazing internal platforms that are fully customized, seamlessly linked with automation. And for us, it's literally been a dream platform, guys. I mean, like I said, I spent a total of more than 8 months trying to find this perfect solution for our different partners, and after spending thousands on software expenses, even different team members, I'm sure at this point of time, I'm confident that I found the perfect solution, because the truth is that everyone has different needs. So the only perfect solution is the one that actually works for you. But with these no-code internal platforms, which are completely customizable, you can set them up in a way that actually work for your agency because they're fully customized to your individual preferences. So if you want a video going over why I think this is the perfect solution, I've already linked it previously. But if you want a video going over an example build, you can check out this video right here. But guys, that's pretty much it from me. If you want more tips like this going over how you can set up scale-proof systems in your agency, then check out our scale-proof agency hub. This is our school community where we have a bunch of established agency owners looking to set up scale-proof systems. Within there, we have every single one of the resources from our YouTube videos and access to our scale-proof roadmap, which is literally a step-by-step guide on how we help our clients set up scale-proof systems. Within there, you also get a step-by-step guide on how you can actually set up your own internal platform using the exact same practices that we use for our clients that pay us thousands. And the best part is that it's 100% free. So if you want access to anything I talked about just then you can join using the first link in the description. And there you also get direct access to me and my team. So for me, it's a no-brainer. I would recommend finish your learning here. If you want an example of how you can actually create these no-code internal platforms, then check out this video right here. It's one of my favorite ones I've done. It's a bit on the longer side, so I recommend putting on 2x speed as always. But it'll give you an example of how you can actually leverage these no-code app builders like NoLoco to build really amazing internal applications for your business. Like I said, guys, this is not a video hating on Notion because I know there's different agencies that are actually using Notion and making it work. So if it works for you, then you don't have to listen to the random guy in orange hoodie. You can make it work. However, from what I've found, Notion is not that true solution to different agency owners' problem because at scale, it just does not work. Guys, that's pretty much it for me. I hope this video has been valuable. A little bit of a rant here. Hopefully, by the time you're watching this in the future, Notion will have updated some of these things and made it a bit more viable for agencies to actually use it as a complete operating system. But for now, we're stuck to these different local platforms like NoLoco, which is amazing. I'm not looking to move off it anytime soon unless Notion launches a crazy update. But guys, that's pretty much it from me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you are using Notion successfully, I'd love to hear more about that because I'm always looking to learn. And if there's a particular way that one of you guys are actually using Notion that might be different to what other people are using, I'd love to share with the channel. So leave a comment below or even within the community if you end up joining. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it from me. Thank you very much for watching and I'll catch you next one. Bye-bye.